Welcome and hello. This is a video exercise in HY-8, and in this exercise we are going to be following the quick start tutorial available up here in the help menu to do our first exercise in this playlist. All right. So the videos that I have in my HY-8 exercise playlist will be exercise that we start from the very beginning. We build out a crossing and a culvert, run the results, analyze the data, and then go from there. That's in contrast to the lessons where we look at one particular part of the program in depth, learn it, look at the user's manual, look at the HDS5 document. We're not doing that here in the exercises. What we're going to do is start from scratch, do a quick working example, a little bit more practical, all right, a little bit more hands-on learning, a laboratory, if you will. All right, so once you have your HY-8 open, go ahead and you can close that opening dialog box and then click on Help and then go up to HY-8 Quick Start Documentation. This is a quick start example. I figure why not just use the quick start example that they provide. And what opened up on my other monitor is right here. It's a PDF file called HY-8 Covert Analysis Program Quick Start Tutorial. We're going to use this PDF document as we run through the different steps here to build a project, insert the data, run the analysis, and then view the results. Okay, so I'm going to pull this off to my other monitor here and then get started. And I'm going to be referencing the page number or the step number in that PDF document as we move along here and progress through this exercise. Okay, so the first step, we're on page 3, section 2, quick tutorial 2.1, starting a project. Right when we open up HY-8, it has this dialog box, which I no longer see, but we want to create a new project and add a culvert crossing. So I have the project right here. You can just right click, add a culvert crossing, same thing. All right, so this is the dialog box that you would get. On the next few pages, it tells us what data we should be entering here for our crossing data and our culvert data and site data. So that's what we're going to be doing next. I'm down on page 4 now, entering project data 2.2. Step 3, enter the following discharge data. So the discharge method, we're going to leave that at the first option, minimum, design, maximum. The minimum will be 0, so that's done. Design is going to be 200 CFS, and then maximum is going to be 250 CFS. The units are over here on the right. It says CFS, that's short for cubic feet per second. If you happen to have metric setting for your project units, you can go ahead and switch that. In fact, the sooner the better. Just go ahead and click OK. Click on Ignore Errors and Continue. Here's our culvert crossing over here in the Project Explorer. And then here is our incomplete culvert 1, which we were in the middle of editing, but is not complete. All right, so for changing the units, just go up to Units and switch it to US Customary Units, just because that is the unit system that's used in this exercise. If you want to use SI units, you're welcome to do that as well, but I'm going to be sticking with US Customary Units. All right, let's reopen the editor box here for our culvert 1. Go ahead and right click, culvert crossing data. This dialog box is where we enter the data for the culvert crossing on the left, as well as the individual culvert data on the right. We're still in the culvert crossing side, so let's keep going here. Step 4, enter the following tailwater data section. And what it tells us to do is for the channel type, we're going to switch that to trapezoidal. The bottom width is going to be 8 feet. Click on Tab to advance to the next field. That's the quick way to do it without having to use the mouse. Side slope is 2 to 1. Channel slope is going to be 0.5%, so 0.005. Manning's N, 0.032. And the channel invert is going to be 89.2. All right, so with the flow data and the tailwater geometry cross-section defined, we can actually click this View button for rating curve. And what it gives us is a table of data with the flows ranging from minimum to maximum in this far left column, and then the elevation, depth, velocity, and shear stress. That's not necessary, but it's a nice thing to check in case you wanted to see what is the tailwater elevation at specific flow rates, because that could affect our culvert hydraulics. All right, if you want to click the plot button, there's the plot of that same data plotted out. We have the discharge along the horizontal axis and the water surface elevation on the vertical axis. Okay, so I'm going to close that. Let's carry on here with the roadway data. I'm now on step 7 on page 6 of the PDF file. So the roadway profile shape is constant roadway elevation. Okay, that's good. We'll keep it like that. The first roadway station is going to be 0. The crest length is going to be 100. That crest length is basically the length of the roadway, which could possibly serve as a weir in the event of overtopping. Crest elevation is 110 feet, and then the roadway surface is paved, and the top width is 68.0 feet. That's the width of the roadway, both travel lanes, the shoulders, and so on. All right, step 8. Now we're entering culvert data, so we're on the right half of this dialog box now. It starts us off with one culvert automatically, and this is really culvert group because you could have multiple barrels. Right down here, we have the number of barrels that share the same culvert properties that we're going to type in right now. So you could have multiple culverts that have different properties, or you could have one culvert with multiple barrels, or just one culvert with one barrel, which is what we're going to be doing, just to keep things simple. All right, so the name is example 6. Let's go ahead and change that. Example 6. This name right here is the same name that we see going up over here. So that's just if you wanted to name your culvert something specific, that's where you can do it. If you click OK and then just ignore the errors, okay, the name of that culvert has updated. So that's one way to do it, but you can also just rename it right here in the Project Explorer without having to open up the whole dialog box. All right, so let's go back to our editor. The shape we're going to be using is a concrete box. So let's switch it to concrete box. And then the material is concrete. That makes sense. That's our only choice if our shape is concrete box. The span is going to be 6 feet, so 6. The rise is 5 feet. The embedment depth is 0. Let's leave it like that. Manning's N, 0.012. That's good. Culvert type is going to be straight, so that's good. We'll leave it there. Inlet configuration, 1-to-1 bevel head wall. So that is the third one right here. And then after that, inlet depression, we're going to leave that at no. Okay, number 9, I'm on page 7 of the PDF. Enter the following site data. The culvert invert data is the option for site data input option. The inlet station number, start that at 0. That makes sense. This is the stationing along the length of the culvert now, as opposed to roadway data, where this was the stationing along the roadway, which was perpendicular to the culvert, or yeah, probably something close to perpendicular to the culvert. The inlet elevation, it says to put 90 feet. Outlet station, so this would be the length of the culvert, 78 feet, the horizontal length. And then the outlet elevation 89.2, so a drop of 0.8 feet over a run of 78 feet. That gives us this slope of just over 1%. And then the number of barrels, we're going to leave that at 1. We can also make this dialog box a little bit larger if something seems to be cut off, because some of the options you select up here could extend this dialog box further down, meaning new fields will appear. For instance, if I put inlet depression equals yes, then we also have to fill out a few more fields right here and hence scroll down. So if you want to see everything in the same view, you can just resize your dialog box by dragging. Okay, let's switch that back though. Inlet depression back to no. Everything fits, that's good. 2.3 is running an analysis. Step 10, select the Analyze Crossing button at the bottom of the crossing data window. This runs the analysis but does not save the information. Analyze Crossing is right here. Boom, it brings up a new dialog box with our analysis. Select the Crossing Rating Curve button. That's this button right here. Boom, here is our rating curve. This is through the culvert now. The previous rating curve we saw was the tailwater rating curve. Here's our total discharge in CFS from 0 up to 250. That was the range of flows that we entered for our design. And then the headwater elevation from 90 up to what looks like about 96. All right. Yeah, 96.12. So here is the range of flows. I have the crossing summary table up, but we only have one culvert, so it would be the same as the culvert summary as far as the total discharge through the culvert and the headwater elevation ranging from 90 up to 96.12. They also throw in this extra row of data for the overtopping, which doesn't seem to occur until a flow rate of 661, where 110 is the elevation of our roadway. All right, step 13, select the culvert summary table option in the display box. That's right here, this radio button, culvert summary table. And then if we had multiple culverts, we'd have to select the specific culvert we want to see the summary for. Here is a new data table where we have our total discharge and our culvert discharge. So if we had more than one culvert, we'd have a larger total and culvert discharge. These are the different flow rates. We have the different headwater elevations. We saw that already before. Then we have inlet control versus outlet control. The inlet control is bold. That's what's controlling here. And a number of other hydraulic properties that you're seeing in the columns. Any of the data displayed in any of the spreadsheets in this window can be selected, copied using Control C, and pasted into a spreadsheet program like Microsoft Excel. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm just going to select some rows. So you right click, copy. I think I'm only copying that 0 value. Paste. Okay, hold on a second. Let's go with a Control A, Control C. So this is all the data. And then back to Excel, paste. Okay, so that got me all the data. It did not copy the heading values. One second. It can also be exported using the controls at the bottom for export report. So right here, there's an export report button. And then it looks like my options are Word or Excel. So let's go with Excel. And then I'll click on export report. All right, so it's asking me where I want to save this Excel file. Call it exercise 1. This is my project directory, so I'll click on save. It's running a DOS program. Okay, so here is an Excel file. That looks correct. And we have our data. That's good. And we also have our column headings. That looks good as well. I'm going to go ahead and close that. And then this was the original Excel file. I'm going to close that and not save. Okay, I closed my HY-8. Very cool. The other option is Microsoft Word. I'm not going to do that in this exercise, but check it out if you want. I'm more likely going to export my data to Excel. Next, in step 14, it says to select the Culvert Performance Curve button, which is over here. So I'll go ahead and do that. Culvert Performance Curve. Ooh, cool. What we have is a plot of the flow rates ranging from 0 up to 250, and then one final point right up here at the overtopping point and the headwater elevation. And then we have two different series of data, the inlet controlled elevation and outlet controlled elevation. It looks like this is inlet controlled for the entire range of flow rates, which is the black line right here. A plot of the performance curve inlet versus outlet control headwater elevation versus discharge will appear after viewing this curve. Close the window. Step 16, select the water surface profiles option in the display box. That's the radio button right here on the left, water surface profiles. Step 17, select the 200 CFS profile, which is third from the bottom, and select Water Surface Profiles button. So 200 CFS is this one right here. That was our design flow. And then it tells us to click the selected Water Surface Profile button. All right, here is that profile. We can see the water surface profile, the solid blue line, the headwater, tailwater elevation, and the embankment in this plot right here. These individual dots, it's kind of hard to see, but there are little dots along the blue lines. That is the data points that we can get data for if we click on the water surface profile data. And this table is organized in a new row every 0.05 foot difference in that depth for the water surface. That's why this first column here, distance from the inlet. Of course, we have one at the start of the inlet with a distance of 0, but the values in this column right here are not equally spaced. That's because it's controlled by the depth as the water surface decreases in depth every 1/20th of a foot. Lots of other information in this table as well, area, velocity, hydraulic radius, and so on. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. All right, so we're moving on. Step 20, I'm going to close this. Now we have our example 6 culvert showing up right here. So we have crossing 1. If I click over here in the Project Explorer, whatever you select is what's going to display. Crossing 1, nothing to display. But if I click on this example 6 culvert, now we have our example 6 culvert showing up with our design flow. This is the same side view that we just saw earlier. So you can access the different views by going up to Display, View, Side View, Front View, or Plan View. These three different views can be accessed from this toolbar right here. Let's see here, Side View, Front View, and Plan View. So here's the side view. Here's the plan view. It tells us to click that button. This is step 24. So 2.4, optional, defining the front view. There's no front view defined yet, so that's what we're going to do now. Step 21, select the front view icon. We did that. A message will appear in the main window describing the requirement to define lateral culvert stations. Front view of crossing will not be displayed until lateral culvert stations are defined. Right-click in this window to define those stations. Okay, so I did a right-click. We can go back to the culvert crossing data. Or what we want to do is define the roadway covert stations. The roadway profile window appears. I'm on step 23 now. Notice that the roadway station data ranges from 0 to 100 feet, which is 0 here to 100 feet. That's that same length that we entered when we put in the roadway data from 0 to 100 right here. So that's where that's coming back as a reference. Okay, so 0 to 100. And now what it's asking for is, for culvert example 6, what is the center line stationing based on that roadway stationing? So it tells us to type in a 50 here for the stationing of the center line of our culvert example 6, then click OK. Boom, that's all we have to do here. Now the plot for our front view has been defined. Here again is the side view. Here's the front view we just created. Here is our box culvert right here. Remember, it's actually 6 feet wide and 5 feet tall, so it's wider than it is tall in reality, but the scale here makes it look taller than it is wide. The design headwater is the blue line, and then up here is the roadway elevation at 110 feet. You can also toggle between the different views, side view and front view, by going up to display, view, side view, display, view, and front view. Step 26, saving. The best practice is to save by going up to File and then Save As. So let's do that, File, and then we're going to save our project here, HY-8 project. I'm going to navigate to a directory. I want to save this project. I'm going to put it right in here. So just call this exercise 1. All right, so that got saved. The .HY-8 file extension was added to that file. Select the Create Report option from the Culvert menu or from the toolbar. This is step 28 now. So let's go up to Culvert and then click on Create Report. A report generator will appear. Now what I'm getting is an actual file save dialog box. So we'll just go ahead and call this Report 1 and save. And then the dialog box pops up for me. So same thing pretty much. What we see here is the different types of reports. We have the file format of the report, as well as the file path and file name. So if we wanted to change where we're saving this report, we can click on the ellipse button and then navigate to a different location, call it something else. Thought I called it report 1, so let's go with that and save. For the file format, looks like Word document is our only option. Up at the top left, this is where we select the culvert crossing or culvert crossings. Now we only have one crossing, so this is sort of trivial for us. And then the report type, there's a few options here: essential, standard, summary, or custom. So standard has different fields than the summary, than the essential. Basically, these are just predefined sets of fields that are going to be in the report. So yeah, this right list box over here is going to be the elements or the data that gets added into our report that's generated here in a Word document. The full list of available fields is in this list box over here. So if you want to add project units, you can add it like that. If you want to remove a field, you can just select it and then click on the less than symbol. You can reorder these items too by just selecting one, clicking it up or down, include all, remove all. Pretty straightforward. Let's go ahead and click OK. All right, so it's running a script here to generate that Word document. Looks like Word's opening up. Boom, here it is. All right, so this is the first page here, and then there's the second page. The first page just gives me a summary of the crossing name, the culvert name, the total discharge, and then some other hydraulic data. We've seen that already. On the second page, we have a little bit more detailed information. This is for crossing 1. Down here, we have more crossing 1 data. And then it looks like table 2, we have specific summary data for our culvert example 6. We've already seen this. This is the same data that we exported to Excel, but some folks may want to have it in a Word document as a report, and that's how to do it. All right, looks like that is the end of the instructions for the tutorial. I'm down here at page 26, 2.6, getting help. That was the last step of exporting the report just before that. So yeah, if you need help, you can email this comments on HY-8@dot.gov, or you can write a comment in this video down below. I'll check it out, or email me. And yeah, that is it for the first exercise in HY-8, where we followed the quick tutorial guide as our first example, which was accessible by going up to the help menu and clicking on HY-8 quick start documentation.